right, guys, we got our first guest right here, right now. Episode 2 of Pure Muscle Radio that I'm co-hosting with Big Mike Van Wyck. I'm Antoine Vaillant, and our guest, of course, Jay Cutler. So how's it going, Jay?
What's up, fellas? How are you today?
Oh, we're pretty good. I mean, we were a little bit stressed out earlier. Well, not Mike. He didn't. Show up. He was eating muffins. He was not stressed out. But me and Laura was like freaking out about this. But now everything's good. Yeah.
I've been enjoying the content. I see Big Mike putting everyone through all the routines up there, man, and showing off that all that knowledge, Mike. You're passing all that knowledge to the new generation.
Yeah, knowledge.
Yeah. So where'd you guys? Because you were already friends before
We met through a mutual friend, Jason Kane, of ours, and during my other job, me and Jason became friends, and he was friends with Jay for a while, and he just kind of connected us, and then we ran into each other a few times, and I've just kept in contact, and he's always been like a solid guy to me. Whenever I go to Vegas, he helps me out, parades me around to. I always ask him for gyms with punching bags, so we can't find one. It's like takes me here. I'm like, no, it's not a good one. This one here is like, oh, what about this one? It's like acting like there's like just a number of gyms with punching bags everywhere we go.
Yeah,
it's like the weirdest request for Jay Cutler to get.
It's like,
yeah, man. Usually people come to town, they ask me for weights and what's the best atmosphere. But of course now, I guess this sport has kind of transitioned into other activities, and I guess sometimes people want to take frustrations out different ways than banging weights. I guess you want to punch things, so that's okay.
I think Mike needs more than just ways to bang out his frustration. Just looking at him. But how's the gym? How's the lockdown and the COVID stuff over there?
You know what? We're pretty open. Some of the gyms are requiring masks. As you know, Flex Lewis just opened his Dragon's Lair. I've been training at a place called Fit Club, which they're not super imposing about the mask, which is great because it's a private facility. Some of the bigger corporate gyms, of course, there's a mask protocol, but everything's been pretty much open. We were closed for a month. Nothing else really took a backward step, and hopefully we're heading into the next phase, which I believe everything by June is going to pretty much open. I heard yesterday the Raiders Stadium will be full capacity by July. And Vegas is getting busy again, man. So it's actually, It's nice to see. And unfortunately, your area is a little different where you guys are right now.
The nightclubs are open there, right? Like they're open to a capacity or something. You have to stay at a table.
They are open up for tables only. So you have to buy a table. There's no general admission.
Yeah.
So the clubs, the pools, everything's pretty crowded as far as capacity space where you can be seated. There's just not that standing around space that you normally would see in the venues. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you want to talk about this vaccination conspiracy shit or not, but I think we should just skip that one. Yeah, and I had some cool questions I wanted to ask you with Mike there. So, I mean, we all get OCD when competing, right? So what was the weirdest superstition or OCD while you were competing that maybe you never told anybody that, or...
Listen, I had a lot of crazy, I look back and to this day, I still carry some of these traits, but for me to train correctly, I needed to shower before I went to the gym. Always.
Of course.
Why?
So I couldn't go train without taking a shower first. I know that's strange, right? And then there would be, and you know this, there's certain body parts where I would have that body part shirt or those pants or, I mean, I used to wear tights back in the day to show off the legs a little more and see them work. But I would always have a certain, sweatshirt, t-shirt, tank top, set of shorts when I did a certain body part because everything seemed to kind of fold over correctly onto the muscle and showcase the muscles. And that was something that always was something I did that I believed in the success. I followed the trend of how I did in preparation for a contest, or how I made progress in the off season, or how I just basically my confidence when I trained a body part. That's how I felt I looked the best.
What would happen if one of those outfits is off? Like you missed a laundry day? Or...
What I would miss a beat a little bit. I mean, listen, I've had great success, but every top bodybuilder has good and bad workouts, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of days I got 1 or 2, sets in, even repetitions, or even walked in the gym and decided to walk out. Even training.
You've walked in and walked out?
Walked in and walked out. Just I wasn't feeling it at that time, whether I came back later or just skipped totally for the day. We all have our good and bad days. And, even at the top, I suffered with those. Which
I had a question that's like, it goes with that pretty well. So you said you've had bad days, bad training days, but is there a show that you feel you could have done something better where you would have as focused and maybe like there was a distraction? And what was that show and what was the distraction? Because we all think you're perfect, like Jay Cutler, perfect. He weighs everything to the ground.
No, listen, I was hit or miss at a lot of contests. 07, I had some issues towards the end. Obviously 2008, I mean, I lost to Dexter that year at the Olympia. I knew 4 weeks out I wasn't as sharp as I should have been. I was holding water. I made a decision I was buying, rice out as I carved up that week. I was purchasing it from a local place just because I was having trouble getting food down. And what I didn't realize is how much salt was actually in that rice.
Oh.
So it caused, obviously, more fluid retention. I lost the title that year.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, and we wanted to know your opinion on the controversy of the 07 Olympia. Like looking back, like what do you think about the results and everything?
You know what? I felt that it could have gone either way, and I won that show. It was the hardest victory that I ever had, even harder than the losses, to be honest, because there was that uncertainty. And listen, I knew I wasn't at my best, but Victor was good. But as we know, there was never a perfect Victor Martinez. And I did get better for the night show. I still felt that I had the wider structure. Of course, a lot of the pictures that float around are the worst of me and the best of him, right?
Yeah, or just him by himself.
But a lot of people there, it wasn't as much confusion as today exists, because as it gets spoken about and less people were presently there speaking about it, pictures don't do the same as in person. And I was never a picture person over being there in person, if that makes sense.
You realize that how crazy it must have looked live in 2009, right? Yeah. So in 2008, you lost, right? And and I think you changed from Chris Aceto to Henry Rambod for 2009. Yes. So what made you want to do the switch? Because you're friends with Chris, right?
Yes. I mean, we were together since I was 18. I mean, 6 months into training, I started working with Chris Aceto. But, we both we spoke about it and just said, hey, you know what? The protocols just weren't working as well. And it wasn't even a planned thing. Like, hey, I'm going to go out. Like today, you hear about people switching coaches because they're actually actively looking. It was just one of these things where I was going to actually do it on my own. And then somehow Hani called me just to check on me as a friend. And because we had spent time for years, like on and off, just spending time together. We're kind of friendly, but he was kind of Team Ronnie Coleman. So it wasn't that close, but he really just checked on me. And then somehow I just said, hey, can you just keep an eye on me? It wasn't like I hired him. It wasn't like, hey, you're going to be my coach. We just started shooting the FST7 stuff together. And we just started working out like on and off, him, myself, Phil Heath. And next thing you knew, we led into the contest, and I came back as, one of the most convincing wins of my career.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, it was like, when you came back, like, you did the impossible in a lot of people's eyes. Like, when you're like a downward slope in bodybuilding, sometimes it's kind of hard to get out of it. But you were like, bang! You were like, what did he do?
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy. So that was awesome. And
it was probably one of the best. I think it was the best victory. The only thing that really, I look back now, and I knew I couldn't repeat 09 as like the way I just came in and made a statement. Right after that, really, how do you look, or what do you do to really top that?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously 2010 I won again, but I wasn't, it didn't have the shock value of 09. And then eventually I lost to Phil, in 11. So
yeah, well, Phil,
that was a good ride.
Yeah, Phil just looked insane. I think my favorite Phil look is exactly that year, 2011.
Yeah.
So Mike, did you want to ask?
Yeah, what was this leads me into like something I was going to say. The first time I ever met Jay, he'd never remember in a million years, because I was just a random guy to show. It was my first show ever, the New England Bodybuilding Championships, where you used to guest pose like every year.
I promote that show.
Yeah,
now.
And that was the first show I ever did after I graduated from college in Rhode Island. I did that show, and I remember I took a picture of Jay backstage, and you were wearing this Pistons jersey. You used to wear like a Pistons jersey backstage, like when you were warming up and stuff.
What's a Piston jersey?
Yeah.
Detroit Pistons.
Oh, it's a team.
Yeah, basketball jersey.
Oh.
Yeah, basketball.
Yeah, and this,
team, yeah.
like, I knew who Jay was, obviously. I'm not an idiot, right? But I was new to bodybuilding, and I literally was walking around backstage, and I'm like, who the fuck is that guy in the jersey? Like, no pants on. Like, pro-tanned up already, and, like, just stand there. I'm like, what is this thing in front of me? I'm like, what is this guy? I remember I tapped you on the shoulder, which felt like someone's, like, quad. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, can I get a picture? And you're like, I was trying to find the picture, but I can't find it. Like, I have no idea where it's at.
You have no pictures. You suck at pictures.
I know, I'm horrible at them.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's, how did you do in that contest?
Oh, I was dead last. I had no idea what I was doing. I literally got dieted by this guy at the University of Rhode Island who was a natural bodybuilder. I was not natural. And he decided to give me a natural bodybuilder's diet, which was like, I can't even imagine. I don't even know how I functioned. I was in college. You
remember what year that was, Mike?
I think it was 2006 or 7. 6 probably.
Okay.
I did it 2 years in a row. So the first year I met you, were there both years, but the first year I met you, that was like my first like taste of like what a pro bodybuilder really looks like. I'd only seen it in magazines, and then I came back the next year and I got 3rd in the super heavies.
Okay.
But the year before I was like, I emaciated. Like I dieted down from 275, from football 275 to like emaciated 225. Like,
well, you're a tall guy too. I'll call you.
So it wasn't a good look. It was not a winning look on stage.
Yeah. First time I saw Jay, I don't remember when it was, but it was around, I was 18 years old, so it was 2006, maybe at the Arnold or something.
Yeah.
I don't remember, or maybe another show, but you had like back then, I don't know, like a lot of bodybuilders wore those suits, and Jay was like, it was like the whitest man I've ever seen.
This is the most retarded thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, and then right after that, I saw Ronnie Coleman with a microwave with like bowling ball shoulders, just walking around. I'm like, and me, I was 18 years old. I'm like, this is another level. Yeah, so we were fans back then, but which makes you.
So we both like kind of came up with questions, and we were just like what is Jay's weirdest or like funniest fan interaction? Like you have to have like, I'm sure, a million stories.
For sure.
But like it's just like, what are the oddest things that you maybe never have spoken about? This guy's like, take my wife.
No, I mean sign the breast, all that stuff.
All girls.
You know what's really like kind of shocking to me is how many times I've actually signed my name like on with a Sharpie on someone's arm, and they said, I'm gonna run right now and get this tattoo. I'm gonna tattoo
Did
right
they do
now.
it?
Yeah, they did it, and they'd come back and show me at the event the next day. Like if it was a FIBO or something like that. Yeah, the next day.
Wow, how do you feel about that?
Well, it's honorable, right? I mean, I had a guy show up in my office last week, and he had the head logo tattoo on his arm, for my like spiky hair logo. So it's somewhat, it's flattering in a way, but man, it's like I don't realize the impact that you make on people. My dog's popping his head up right now.
Yeah.
The impact you make on people's lives, everyone has their vices on, why they start training or whatever else, and a lot of people are overcoming certain things. But I never imagined being a professional bodybuilder. I just wanted to win titles and be featured in books, and I never imagined people would use me as kind of a role model these days. And that's probably the best gift that's been given to me since I retired is the interaction from people all over the world that still follow my career and what I do on social media, and kind of the consistency I had at the Olympia stage to use as motivation for life in general. So it's pretty awesome. I don't know if it's necessarily weird. I mean, of course, you get your people asking for pictures of your feet and that kind of stuff with the foot fetishes, and like, you know, I'm sure there's a million things I could think of that just are outrageous, but at the same time, like, everyone has their thing, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's just weird that they would just shoot their shot like that. like Jay Cutler sent an email. I've had some weird emails, seriously. Yeah, and more when I was younger. Now that I'm older and I lost my hair, and I'm not as popular with the schmoes. So I don't know why. I mean, they like the younger guys.
You know what's kind of funny? I remember Dave Borley shooting you. You came to California, and I don't know what year this was, but you were doing all the crazy flips and stuff back then.
That was a long time ago.
I told what year was that? I told Dave, I said, this guy needs to be in movies. He needs to pursue movies instead of bodybuilding, you know? And, you know, I've always kind of followed your career since then. And obviously, you know, I'm a huge supporter. Last year, you know, you coming and winning in Las Vegas for the Cal or whatever, which, you know, they had to move it here. You know, that was a huge achievement, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I was super happy. Every time you texted me and stuff, I was like, it was like fuel, pure fuel of motivation.
Well, you were pretty upset about the bicep tear. You know, we both tore a bicep before, and I told you it would come back better than ever, right?
Mine's still torn.
Yeah. No, mine's not too bad, actually. Like, I don't know if you can see or not, but...
Yeah, does it affect your training at all, or...?
Sometimes the rotation like that, I feel like it's a little bit tight, but... No, it's and the training with Mike now is that I don't push the weight. I don't focus on heavy weight. We put weight when needed, but it's all about the movement, and you know, well, you can explain more, but pretty much it's like the last reps I've done, especially the one with the Olympia with Mike training me, is the one I felt the best, and I was the least injured with no pain at all.
Well, you shouldn't be in pain. I can tell you through my career, I never had pain, and I still don't have pain this day. But it amazes me at all the new training systems that people come up with, right? Yeah. Where I'm just I'm a volume trainer. I do, you know, reps of 10 to 12 repetitions. I rest short periods. I believe in a lot of angles, and make a 50-pound weight feel like 150 pounds, right?
That's what I mean. Me and Antoine have been talking about that, like with this, like. I'm not against progressive overload, and I'm not against these techniques that people are doing. If they're working for you and you're seeing results, then you should keep doing them, and you like them, that's fine. But it's just like some people just don't get like results that way, and to like be constantly obsessing about how much weight you're doing, it's like I feel like it's just going to lead you down a road of like tears, pulls, injured this is hurt, now this is hurt because that's hurt. It's just like I just don't get it. Like when I've seen guys like you, and I've seen all the guys I looked up to growing up, like training in a certain way, and it's just like, why did that ever stop? Like I don't understand.
Yeah, well, everyone's looking for the extra whatever. But I can tell you guys, you know, and this is going to probably be the most thing that people take away from this this interview. I've never done forced repetitions, so no one's ever pushed me through. Like I'm failing at 8 and gone to 10 or 12 or whatever. No, I don't believe in that. You know, it's all about just, you know, I go until I feel a great burn, but I stop before I could do 1 or 2 more repetitions. And listen, people can think, oh, well, you know, you could have been better if you did, but listen, it worked for me. It was something that I never had a spotter. Never had a spotter ever to do what I did.
I do with Antoine, it's like he's used to like someone like him getting to a certain point, and then he's like, oh, help me, and I'm like, no, I'm not helping you. Like it's like I'd rather you maybe if you can still work through like 3/4 of that range and maybe get a little more motion out of it, and then let go of the weight. Like we're not going to force reps to like this end point just for the sake of getting it to the end point, like, and your neck's cranking, your shoulders cranking, whatever it is, right? It's like I don't understand that. I've never been like that in my life. So
yeah, well, I feel like I told that before, not to you, but when I was training myself, my days off, I was like, oh, I wish I could train today. Today, my days off, I'm like, thank God it's a day off. I don't have Mike this morning torture me for 90 minutes and me be exhausted the whole time. So, yeah. So you were talking about being a role model, and I think you've done probably the best job of everybody, all the bodybuilders that I know that are pro that kind of like retired, but you never really retired. You just did something else. Like retiring is not maybe from you put your trunks up on the thing. You retired from competitive bodybuilding, but you did a lot more stuff afterwards. So was there an adjustment when you went from just an athlete to but you did business before that too, but just an athlete to like full time, just like your new life that you have now? Was it hard?
Yeah, you know what? I never retired. I never officially made the statement, "Hey, I'm retired." My goal was obviously to win 5 Olympias. I won 4. I came back in 13. I finished 6, which was my worst placing of 10 years or whatever. But I transitioned, and as you know, I was doing a lot of different ventures while I was in bodybuilding. But it was easier for me, I think, than some of the guys because I had a lot to fall back to, and my busy went to extremely busy with still doing the appearances, promoting the events, working with the supplements, and I was still doing the clothing and obviously the outside ventures that I was doing that kept me super, super busy. So it was almost like a relief to not have to train and seclude myself and take myself and put myself in that realm for the 12 or 16 weeks that it took for me to train for a contest. And I could really focus and take that energy and take that work ethic that I had from the bodybuilding and really dive into the business side and still have fun doing it. I mean, I'm still training every day, but remember, it's half as much as I used to and half as much food. The food is what takes the most time of anything as a bodybuilder, in my opinion.
True. Yeah. So back then we were competing. You had Ronnie Coleman as the motivation and a rivalry, and the competition was right there. But when you retired from bodybuilding and you started doing your business, did you have like another entity that you were going against, that you were competing against? Because you're a competitor at heart, right? So now, what do you compete against? So you just maybe gave up on that?
Yeah, listen, I was competitive first because Ronnie had his supplements. I had my supplements. We were meeting up, and we still had that. Now it was a battle of business or whatever else. And we were worldwide. So I still was, and I was still kind of cheering on Phil Heath in a way because I kind of brought him through. So I was experiencing the victories that he was having as part of like my success, because I kind of passed the torch to him, as you know, in 11, and I was just a fan of bodybuilding. So for me, like, it was an easy transition, and I was not necessarily competitive. I'm not trying to be the biggest and baddest supplement company or, whatever, being the biggest, real estate guy or whatever venture I end up doing. It's just that I want to have fun doing it. Everyone's always asked, how's business, how's family, this and that. But the truth is you should ask a person how happy they are to be doing what they do, right? You want to love what you do.
Yeah.
Jay, we have one more question before you go. It's very serious. We want to know why you're hiding your Massachusetts accent so well. We want to know why there's no Boston accent that ever comes out of Cutler's mouth.
You know what? I came from Worcester, Mass.
Pissa.
Yeah. I came from Worcester, which is like central.
Yeah.
And because I was closer. I used to fly out of TF Green airport all the time if I traveled, which is in Rhode Island. So I was kind of in between. So I never really had that deep Boston accent. For some reason, being on the West Coast now for 20 years, I kind of lost that accent. But if you go watch like my Teen National videos, you can actually hear it a lot more.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Maybe I knew you were hiding it, or you've somehow buried it in your past.
How did he do that? I wish I could do that with mine. It's stuck with me forever. It's getting worse. Yeah, so I guess
maybe you get kind of lost with your French a little bit, because you still speak French, right?
Every day with my mom. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So I want to learn like speech classes where I could articulate better for things like this.
Well, it's because Dave, who shoots the YouTube stuff, he doesn't like to speak French ever. So whenever he sees you, I say, you better talk French.
Yeah,
to
Dave.
Him,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is he up to?
He's just filming. I just talked to him. He's at Flex's training, and then he's going to film one of the athletes that competed at my contest last weekend.
Oh, sweet.
The Jay Cutler show here. So
yeah, well, we're almost at 30 minutes there. So do you have anything you want to push? Like, what's your newest project you want to promote a little bit?
You know what? I'm always working on different things. I mean, as you know, I'm doing the supplements, and you know, I've been pretty active with that. I'm working on another clothing brand right now.
Another one. What's it called?
Yeah, another. Well, you know what? I haven't announced it yet, but it's going to be more of an athletic brand. So I'm actually going to call tomorrow to kind of finalize some of the custom cuts that I'm doing for you know, kind of the launch.
Make some nice leggings for the girls there.
I would
the
like
ones that go up the ass.
Yeah,
the pinch, the back pinch.
Yeah, the little
so. Yeah, I mean, listen, anything that's challenging for me. You mentioned the stage stuff, but for me to, you know, feel challenged, you know, I always have to have new projects. But most importantly, like, you know, I want to get back to traveling some. I got shows that I promote this year. My next one, you know, was scheduled for Massachusetts at the end of April, where Mike competed, but it's postponed right now because the capacity is limited there. But I do have August in Virginia. I do have October back in Massachusetts for another event. It's actually called the New England. I've switched it from May to October, that contest. So I'll be doing that. But I'm booked up doing quite a bit of events. I'll be at some charity stuff for Brandon Curry in a couple weeks. I go to Utah this coming weekend. So I'm just staying active and doing a lot of stuff with my Cutler Club, my online club that I do, and challenges. And you know, I'm trying to just hit the gym every day, man. Just trying to be like, you get motivation from you guys. I'm watching the Instagram videos, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, Jay. So anything else you want to add? We're good?
No, that's it, man. I appreciate being your first guest on your...
it's awesome. Thanks a lot for that. And also, as soon as it's open and you're available, you're invited to the gym. It's going to be sick. We're expanding. You'll see it's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, Dorian did tell me that, and, you know, I do, it's one of the places I always wanted to come visit, and I actually had an event booked in Canada prior to COVID, so hopefully you know, we'll be able to reschedule that event, but I do have products now that are launched up in Canada, so that I will be probably doing some touring for our friend Josh. You know, as you know, we toured together for Supplement World when I saw you that time, so I'll probably come up there and do some appearances in time.
Awesome. All right, Jay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, brother.
I hope you have a nice day. And, you know, don't be too busy. Take the time to relax, too, with your dogs and your girlfriend there. How's the weather there? It must be great.
Yeah, it's beautiful, bro. It's just, this is a perfect time of year in Vegas because it's not too hot. We're in kind of the early stages of summer, so we're in the 80s. And it doesn't last that long. We got the heat coming rather quickly, but thankfully I'll be on the road traveling and bouncing in and out of it. So,
well, you enjoy your day. Thank you very much again.
Thank you, fellas.
Yeah, see ya. So thanks again, Jay Cutler. That was a cool first guess, right?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Now this bar is set pretty high.
Now we can get anybody we want ever.
Yes.
Ever.
So the next part of the podcast is actually just a Q&A that I got going on my Instagram story, and let's just get straight into it. So Cheyenne 1645 is asking, what's in your diet? What's in your diet?
My diet right now, I just had a Tim Hortons. Yeah, that's gonna go in there too.
And this right here, Tim Hortons muffin. Yeah. So that's in my diet.
Yeah. It's part of his program.
No.
Don't doubt it.
Yeah. That's in my diet. All right. So, G. Croix 78 is asking, what's the other hat that Mike's wear? What's his other job?
It's private security.
And what's up with the hat question? I don't get it.
It's just people who do many different things or have talents wear many hats.
Oh, it's an expression. I thought you asked. Like, I never ever saw you wear a hat.
It's a very old expression.
Oh.
It's a very refined gentleman, I think.
Why don't you wear hats?
I don't know. I'm proud of my bald head, so I just show it off.
Yeah, well,
don't hide it.
You got drawings on it.
Yeah, I got new drawings.
That's a new one, right? On the side?
Yeah.
Show it. Yeah.
There you go.
Gotta be grateful, bitch. And this one here. Damian Jurek is asking, what is your IQ level?
Combined, we probably are like the temperature outside. But who knows?
I don't know.
It's pretty low, though.
Where do you get IQ tests anyway?
Yeah.
I don't think it's low.
No, it's probably.
I think there's like, and there's different type of like intelligence. There's like social intelligence, emotional intelligence.
EQ.
Yeah.
Yeah, our EQs are high, our IQs are low.
What's IQ stand for? Intellectual quantity?
I don't know. We shouldn't have just asked ourselves
Google
that.
it. Yeah. Has someone ever grabbed your huge neck? House Packer is asking.
Why are these? You ask them like they're all directed towards me.
Yeah, they are. Well, I'm asking a question to him. House Packer is asking, has someone ever grabbed your huge neck? I mean, security, you've probably got grabbed multiple times.
No.
No?
No.
I guess they're scared. What about by girls?
I'm pretty sure I was been gripped up by my neck by my mom when I'm younger. She's like, come over here.
He's the only person that can scare him is his mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess me, I've done jiu-jitsu before, and you get choked out a few times. So, yeah, somebody grabbed my neck. Why are you asking that anyway? Yeah. That is your question you should ask yourself. Why do you want to know that?
House Packer.
Weirdo. This one's for you for sure. Henry 2001 is asking, why are your eyes so pretty, Mike?
It's for me for sure.
Yeah. Well, they're blue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why are your eyes so pretty?
I don't know.
Is it your mom or your dad?
My dad.
Oh, really?
Probably. Okay. If he's talking to me. I don't know if he's talking to me. So.
Yeah, and me, it's Photoshop.
Yeah. It's a filter.
Yeah, it's a filter. This one is actually a very serious question. Play in Like Rose is asking how to have your veins popping out during your workout.
That's for you.
That's for me? Oh, yeah.
I don't work out.
Yeah, you do. There's even a video on the HD Muscle channel of you doing legs.
That was my body double.
I don't know. Fuck, you just gotta be lean. The veins is kind of like over the skin, the ones that you see, but it's under the fat. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I mean, you got to be at a certain level of body fat, or be leaner in certain areas than others to have veins show.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid, I was watching Arnold on TV, like Commando and stuff, and he would hold the gun and his bicep vein would be bulging. And I was like, I want that vein. And when it was first coming out, when I was a kid, I was like, yeah, look, Mom, look.
I don't think I've ever had that vein. I still want it.
This one, why is it? Is it underneath? Or?
I think it's like genetic, to be honest, when people have that.
Yeah.
Like really pronounced vein like that. I think probably everyone has it. Maybe doesn't pronounce like that.
Yeah, because when you think about it, I've always thought about that. It's like if you have veins over your muscle, then you have some inside the muscles, everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? Because sometimes when you cut a steak, you see like, oh, there's like a blood vessel in there. So I think we're full of blood vessels, and I think the more you train, the more you pump up, the more you maybe do cardio. I think it probably expands your capillary system and your vascular system, right?
Yeah, it engorges with blood. So it pushes out.
But if you want to have veins popping, lose body fat, get a big pump, and it should work. And all right, let's keep going with this question here. Existing in this realm is asking, Antoine, would you ever compete with the contest weight of 290 or 300? Well, to give you an example, Big Ramy was 290 or 285, I think. And I was 270 at the Olympia. So, I don't know, like, it is possible. It is humanly possible. It's been done before, but not a lot of people can do that. And then sometimes it just, shit goes wrong when you're...
Well, you could be 290 and 300 competing on stage and just be a tubby fuck out there if you want.
Exactly.
Just to say you technically competed at that weight.
Yeah, remember Greg Kovacs?
Yeah.
Rest his soul.
Yeah.
He was the first one. He was like trying to be 400 pounds off season.
He's a monster.
Yeah. You ever met him?
Yeah, I met him a couple times.
Really?
Like literally very close to the time he died.
Oh, wow.
Because he started training people at the gym I used to go to. And he actually reached out to me prior to his death, like maybe I think it was like a couple months, and he was like asking me if I would, if he could train me, and like it wouldn't charge me anything. He just wanted to like help me out, and I was like, I'm not going to compete anymore, but like I would take you up on the offer if I was going to compete. I told him, but I said I have no desire to compete, but thanked him. But he seemed like a really nice guy.
Yeah, I never met him. though. But he was like super strong too. I heard.
Yeah, I heard. I always heard stories of him being a maniac, and then I met him. and I was like, this guy's nice. I don't know what people are talking about. Maybe he was back in the day, but
yeah. There was rumors of him like when he was going out to eat, he had a fan on the table.
Yeah, I heard like all these stories. Like he would eat with like a wooden spoon. Like he would, all his food would be in like a huge tub, and he would just eat with like a wooden spoon because he couldn't get a regular spoon.
Oh, because he was too pumped.
Yeah.
He would have to pick a long
Everyone's
spoon.
like, "Oh, that's awful." I'm like, "That sounds amazing."
So pumped. That's crazy. And I also heard the rumor that his wife was helping him clean up after the bathroom.
Oh, we can all use some help sometimes.
Yeah, I wish I could.
That's the big deal.
It feels pretty good too. If somebody else does it for some reason.
Just gotta get yourself a bidet.
Yeah, a bidet. Yeah, do you have a bidet?
Oh, I wish.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I think a nice warm temperature like jet up there would feel nice for sure. Yeah.
Make sure it's clean.
Okay, now let's get a real question. Raiden Varden Hanar on the score is asking, what yellow reason to start bodybuilding? You want to start, Mike?
My reason, I used to watch wrestling when I was little, and I used to like be super into wrestling, like Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, and like British Bulldog, and Ultimate Warrior, and I just thought like that's how you're supposed to look if you were a guy. Like I literally thought like I didn't think anything was like abnormal about it. I was like, oh, you grow up and you get big and you get big muscles and you're like an animal. That's what you do. So I just had that in my head from when I was little. I never looked up to certain bodybuilders till I got into like maybe high school, and then I really got into like following Dorian Yates and guys like Flex Wheeler and things like that. I really started following them, and then it was like a natural progression. It was never like I just thought being muscular and big was like what you were supposed to do. So.
Yeah, me. I guess the reason I've actually like I was talking with a shrink. It was actually a sex psychotherapist.
Oh, you're gonna get like to the nitty gritty.
Oh yeah. And after the fourth session, I realized a lot of stuff, and I also realized like why I started training. It's because I was feeling worthless and abandoned because my parents were getting divorced at the age of 9 years old, and because I was feeling worthless, I was like, what can I make? How can I make myself better? What can I control? And that was kind of like pretty much subconscious, right? And then I was like, well, I'm gonna be stronger. I want to be strong. That's how I can be worthy. So I started doing push-ups, and I started training like that, and I got like validation because I had good genetics. So people at school they would always say, oh, he's strong. He's a strong one. That would beating people up, and I was like, just like violent when I was younger, and that was like kind of my identity, this like strong kid, whatever. And then I started doing martial arts. I stopped being violent. And then I got also more validation from the muscles I was gaining. And then I went on the forums of bodybuilding.com and all the website. I was reading articles. And then I was like, wow, these guys look, this is how I want to look. Like, this is what I've been trying to do. And then I learned that you had to join a gym because I was doing curls and push-ups at home. And I thought like that was I was supposed to do because I was seeing Rocky in a movie and stuff. He was training in the shed. So I'm like, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
Pounding on beef carcasses.
And then I saw Kevin Levrone, Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler, all these guys on the forums, the pictures, and on the internet. And I was like, fuck, I want to. They're competitive bodybuilders. They compete. That's why they're wearing those trunks on stage with the lights and stuff. And Arnold did it. So, okay, well. And that's, the best way to get in shape and the best shape of your life is doing that. So I want to do that. So my mom got me a membership to this gym, and I went to the owner. And before I ever touched a gym weight in my life, I said I want to compete. I was 15 years old. I want to compete in bodybuilding. He was like, all right. He gave me a 3-day split, and I was doing it twice a week, so a 6-day training. And I kind of like I went from 153 to 185 real quick. Just like I gained 30 pounds like within like a few months. So I got good again validation. So it's like a dog. If you make him, if he sits down, you give him a treat, he's gonna want to. You gotta train him like that. So for me, the validation that I was getting was keeping me, but was keeping myself was keeping the training going.
Yeah.
So this is how I started, and then I won my first show at 16 years old. I beat a 20-year-old, and then I somehow was like, oh, I feel good doing this. I'm getting like good feedback, and I kept going there. So that's how I started.
I think mine started too because I was playing sports. So
oh yeah,
I was like crazy into like playing rugby, and my first high school I went to, there was a weight room there, and it was like one of the only high schools in Toronto that had like a big weight room. They had emptied out a gym and like reformatted it. And so I trained there, not knowing what I was doing at all. But there's this dude Eddie who worked there. He looked like Hulk Hogan, like he had the Hulk Hogan hair and like the handlebar, and he wore like the Zubaz pants.
No way.
And he was like the biggest human being I'd ever seen. He was like this monster poof ball dude, like who was just like
Pythons.
he was like monster to me. And he gave us a split, like you got a split, and me and my buddy would just follow it.
Yeah.
And he would do like crazy shit, like he'd do like lat pull downs, but he'd pull the whole stack, and we thought that was like the craziest thing ever.
Oh yeah.
But thinking back, I don't even know how he was doing
He was
it.
swing it.
I would literally hang off it, and I could hang there, and the stack wouldn't move. And this guy was pulling it down, right? I was like, man, I want to be like him.
He was a big guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the reason why we start training sometimes is like we don't even know why we start. The reason I said was kind of subconscious. Like if you go back, like everything that you do is because of shit that happened to you when you were a kid and before. So, and I don't know if you notice, like a lot of fighters, a lot of athletes, they're kind of like they have a weird like. If everything's perfect when they're kids, they're not really gonna perform as well. I find that somebody who's kind of a little fucked up, no?
Yeah. Because they get into things to kind of channel their anger or channel their frustration.
Yeah. So I wonder what pissed off Ronnie Coleman.
I don't think Ronnie got pissed off. I think Ronnie's just a monster human being.
He's the exception to the rules.
He's like, oh, I touched this dumbbell and my arms grew 3 inches. I'm going to keep doing this.
Yeah. Then again, it's like probably the feedback and validation, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, he played sports too, though. He played football.
Football. Yeah, and powerlifting.
So he probably started doing it to be better at that, and then saw how gifted he was, and why the hell am I getting hurt when I can just lift weights?
Exactly. All right, I think we're good with all the questions there. So what's the time here, Mrs. Laura?
We are at 14 minutes.
Oh, there we go. So it's like a good 45-minute podcast, my friends. Thanks for tuning in. And please, if you like the podcast, share it on your stories. Share it on your social media, because we're starting this on the Pure Muscle Fitness YouTube, so we need some subscribers, we need some views. Same for Spotify. So if you love this video, like it, subscribe, comment, and share it with as many people as you can.
And you guys can send questions that are like more tailored to like maybe stuff you want to know instead of like asking us what our IQ is.
Yeah,
like,
well, that was actually asked like an hour before filming. So actually, if you're watching this right now, and you can, in the comment section of YouTube, comment your question. So that way next time when we film, we'll have like some more thoughtful questions maybe. Not that yours were not, they were pretty good, like this one here. What is your aim? Like, it's a great question, but I don't know how to answer that. My aim is good, I guess. So, yeah, comment and question, like, comment, ask your questions.
Yeah. And comment.
Ask questions.
All that stuff.